He stood there, back straight, hand firmly placed on the flag-draped casket, while the noise of the terminal faded into silence around him. A uniformed airport manager stepped forward, confusion on his face and hesitation in his voice. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step away from the flag." But the Marine didn't flinch. His eyes were fixed ahead, his posture unyielding, like a statue carved from quiet devotion. 3 security officers moved in slowly, unsure of what exactly they were walking into. Around them, people began to stop. A bubble of stillness formed in the middle of the chaos. Something sacred was happening, and not everyone understood it yet. The terminal smelled of coffee and jet fuel. Loudspeaker announcements echoed overhead. But this gate felt like a world apart. The Marine stood alone, guarding not just a casket but something deeper, something invisible yet heavy. The airport manager, clipboard in hand, tried again. "You're not allowed to handle the cargo." The word hit the Marine like a slap. "Cargo?" He didn't respond, didn't move. To the others, it was just another military transport. To him, it was Corporal Jake Morrison, 23, killed in action, not cargo, a man, a brother, a promise. A few passengers whispered. A TSA agent called for backup. The Marine's jaw tightened. He had orders, yes, but more than that, he had honor. And that didn't bend. People started to notice something was off. The air shifted, like a storm cloud rolling in. A toddler stopped crying. Even the airport employees looked unsure now, glancing at each other instead of acting. The Marine hadn't raised his voice. He hadn't made a scene. But he stood like a mountain between that casket and the indifference trying to move it. "Look, we have protocols," a TSA agent insisted. "You're delaying operations." The Marine slowly turned to him and said, "There are protocols, and then there's honor." It wasn't loud. It didn't have to be. And in that moment, even the hardliners felt the weight of those words. Not all rules fit the shape of a man's duty. Jake wasn't just a name on a clipboard. He was the kid who made everyone laugh during drills, the one who twisted his ankle hiking in Afghanistan and had to be carried back by the same Marine who now stood watch over his return. He talked about home a lot, how his mom made lemon pie that could silence a room, how his dad promised to teach him fly fishing again after deployment, how he missed his sister's graduation. Jake used to hum country roads under his breath during long patrols, joking it was his soul's GPS. He wasn't a symbol, he was someone, and that someone deserved more than being treated like an oversized box with a tag. Just then, a small voice rose from the watching crowd. "Mommy, why is he touching the flag?" A little girl, clutching a teddy bear, stood near the barrier. Her innocence cracked the tension in a way no adult ever could. The Marine looked down and gave a small, solemn nod. "Because he's making sure someone gets home," he said softly. The manager hesitated. Security stopped moving. It was as if those words pierced through bureaucracy and reached the human part of everyone standing there. For the first time, it wasn't a delay. It was a moment. A man's final journey was unfolding, and people finally saw it for what it truly was. Then the Marine moved, not because he was given permission, but because duty didn't wait for clearance. He walked slowly, each step measured, hand never leaving the casket. As he passed through the terminal, something remarkable happened. People stood. Hats were removed. Hands went over hearts. A veteran in a wheelchair saluted. Tears welled up in strangers' eyes. Phones came out, not for vanity, but for memory. A single voice began to sing the national anthem, softly, unsure. But then others joined. Right there in a busy airport, time paused. It was no longer a terminal. It was sacred ground. The Marine continued forward until he reached the gate, where Jake's family waited. His mother dropped to her knees, tears streaming down her face. His father stood frozen, then offered a trembling salute. His sister sobbed, whispering, "Welcome home, Jake," through shaking lips. The Marine bent down and folded the flag with perfect precision. Not a corner out of place. He placed it in the mother's hands and said, "He didn't die alone. He was loved. He was honored." His gloves were soaked in sweat. His throat burned from emotion held in. But he didn't waver, not for a second. The airport manager stepped forward, his face pale, his voice low. I didn't understand," he whispered. The Marine gave him a single nod. Now you do. No more words were needed. What they had all witnessed wasn't a protest or a problem. It was a reminder of what respect looks like, of the quiet, sacred acts we often forget. Applause broke out, not loud, not for show, slow, respectful, and from the heart. Echoes of realization bouncing off tile walls and glass gates. And somewhere, somehow, a nation remembered something it almost lost in the rush. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop a karma in the comments below to honor those who never made it home.